So it's been a while. We've seen each other over the years quite a lot of times.
Yes.
You toured with us in 1970 in Europe, didn't you? And England.
What a great time.
And then I did a thing with you at Montreux.
Right.
With you and Junior, and then we all backed to Muddy, didn't we?
That's what
at
we
the
were
festival.
there for. And Ralph Bass was from Chess. I think he passed away the last couple of years or so, and he said he had that master, which I wish you could have pulled that out of it, because you know we played behind Muddy. That's the purpose of Junior and I be there to play behind Muddy, and they had some kind of conflict. They never did release that album.
Oh.
Yeah. Maybe you can find it. I would love to have that.
Oh, I'll have a dig.
Yeah, yeah.
So where were you? You were born in Louisiana, weren't you?
Yeah, it's a little place called Letchworth, Louisiana, out on a farm.
3 months before I was born in England.
Yeah. The first car was a horse.
Really?
Yeah. You know, I walked to little school, and I got grade school. I had to walk a long ways every morning for it. No cars or nothing like that. Yeah. Picking cotton and potatoes and whatever.
So how did you get into music?
I went back through my grandparents. They lived long enough for me to question them, and nobody they could, not from both sides, could figure out who was musical inclined. And I had the rubber bands, you know, the screen wire and all that stuff. And I remember my dad's friends used to say that guy would be a musician if he had something to play.
It's like Hooker. He started with those strips of rubber tire on the garage door, doink, doink, doink. That's how he. There was quite a lot of them, wasn't there?
I'd run the family out of the house when I got something to go a little louder.
Well, the walls shook.
Yeah.
So, who did you hear first that turned you on to music? Did you hear T-Bone Walker or one of those guys, or Lonnie Johnson?
Well, it was a long time.
They were more jazzy, weren't they, than what you did?
Not really. It was a long time before my parents had electric, and finally we got the old phonograph you used to have the Wyman. Some friend of my dad's had it, and I think I heard Arthur Crudup and Lightning Hopkins first.
Yeah.
And then when we finally got a radio, which I was about 16, then the most stuff I would hear then was country and western out of Texas, until I could pick up the record shop out of Tennessee.
Was there also the country blues at that time as well? There probably was that primitive country blues that kind of crossed over in between. There were a lot of artists like that.
I would say so, because at that time, Bill, you could turn a radio on and they would play your country and western, Muddy Waters, Mahalia Jackson, Johnny Otis, Count Basie, Frank Sinatra. I mean, they played all music. It wasn't like it is today. You turn on the radio, you hear the same 10
and a little Junior Parker or Bobby Bland.
Oh, yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
They were wonderful times, weren't
they? I kind of wish it were like that now, because it's almost like, to me, it's when you eat your favorite meal, you can't eat it every day because you get tired of it. So you just keep getting different stuff and something else you like too, you know. And that's why I wish some radio station would play like that now, because I even love country.
That's a good analogy, actually.
Yeah, the spiritual stuff. Well, I listened to a lot of spiritual when I was coming up. A lot of Lou Rawls and Johnny Taylor and.
I like Johnny Taylor.
Oh yes.
I like him.
Yes.
Well, so all right. So what was your first kind of break?
Well, my mother had a stroke, and I left Baton Rouge, Louisiana, September 25th, 1957.
He knows the date. It's exactly like me.
You can't forget that. And I went to Chicago. I actually was looking for just a regular job to help my mom. She had the stroke at the time, and I ran into some...
And Muddy saw you in the club, didn't he?
I ran into a bad situation. I couldn't get no work with nobody hired me, and Muddy. I played it for a guy walking down the street first, and he grabbed me by the hand and walks me in this club. It was Otis playing.
Otis Rush?
Yeah. And Otis, the guy told Otis to call me up, and I went up and played things I used to do, and someone called Muddy on the phone. And I was pretty hungry because it was the third day with no food.
You were about 18, 19?
No, I just had turned 21.
Oh.
And Muddy came in and just smacked me and said, "Wait a minute, I heard about you. They done called me and got me out to bed, you know." And I said, "Muddy?" He said, "Yeah, I'm Muddy." He slapped me first, and I thought they were saying I was getting mugged, and it was calling him the Mud. You know, they wasn't calling him Muddy then. So I said,
the Mud.
He said, "You hungry?" I said, "If you muddy waters, I'm not hungry. I'm full. I met you."
He was lovely, wasn't he?
What a great
man.
man.
A sweet man he was,
yes,
wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Yeah.
So kind to everybody.
Everybody, yes.
Yeah, I was very proud.
People like that should never have to die.
No, exactly.
Right.
I was so proud to meet him and play with him sometimes.
Oh, yes.
You played with him a lot, though.
Yeah, that thing we did, man, that was one of the moments
in
in
Montreux.
My life. Yeah.
I know you stood up there, didn't you? And you said that wonderful thing. You said, people, you might think I'm joking out there, but to come out here and play to you guys is sometimes even better than when we're at home, because we're not appreciated at home.
Right,
but here you,
right.
And you did that thing, you nearly brought tears to my bloody eyes, you did.
Yeah, the ovation.
And then you go and play that magical thing and sing your heart out.
You know, I tried to find that amplifier again. That was a Japanese amplifier. I went there and it doesn't make it anymore. You know, you can't get those amps like they used to be anymore with that real true tone. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lovely concert we did that night.
Yes, it was.
And that was the first time I ever saw, when we did that first set, didn't we?
Yes.
And you and Junior did great things, and I loved that harmonica and that slow number where it sounded like a saxophone.
He was playing great then. You know, that's why I got a little tape of that. Somebody.
So have I.
Yes.
We did it.
Yeah.
I think I'll still pay your royalties on that one. And then we all backed Muddy with Pine Top Perkins, didn't we? And he did that bunch of things, and on the last number, he went off, got the mojo working, we finished it, we walked off, and then he said, "Come back on," because the crowd wouldn't let us go, and he came on and we did like another mojo. We did it again.
He did his little dance.
And then he got up and danced, didn't he? Because he was sitting down all the time, and then he suddenly got up and he started to do all this amazing dancing.
Yeah, he did the Muddy Waters.
Oh, it was great. I never saw him dance like that.
Oh, yes, he could light the fire.
And Wolf did a lot of things like that on stage, didn't he? He was very animated, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. You know, they knew how to, Bill, that's why I learned a lot of my stuff from those guys, and Sonny Boy, B.B. King is kind of quiet with his, but they always could, at the spirit of moment, they shock you with something you're not expecting.
Just something that's really special.
I learned so much because, you know, right now with my band, I'll go out there and say, well, man, I don't want to do what I rehearsed because these people, that's pleasing me. I got to please the audience. So
it becomes spontaneous, doesn't it?
Right, and I think that's what they are saying. Let me get up here and shake a little bit and work.
But I even remember when on that 70 tour of Europe that you did with us, that even then you were like standing there. I'd never seen it before, and I think Luther Allison nicked it off you actually. You were just standing there with a guitar plugged in, and you were doing it with a handkerchief.
Yes.
Jang, 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 whatever it was, you were playing it and you're just hitting it with a handkerchief, weren't you? And then later I saw Luther do that.
Did you?
Yeah,
I didn't never see him do that.
He was.
Well, we all take.
We all learn, don't we, from each other?
Yeah.
But you've always been very wonderful on stage. I've got lots of footage. You might not even
Thank you. I'm sure you have.
Of various things you've done, all that mad stuff you do with the guitar while you're playing and all that. And
yeah, I learned a lot from Guitar Slim. I did see him before I came to Chicago.
I never saw him.
Yeah, he was, oh man, he's the one started that. You know.
But it goes all the way back, don't it? T-Bone Walker did it.
Yes.
And you go right back. They say that Charlie Patton did it.
I never did see him.
No, he was too long before, wasn't he? But Wolf and Sunhouse saw him when they were little boys, and they said he did crazy things. He played guitar behind his head and through his legs, and just like Hendrix and...
Right. Well, I saw...
And Hendrix, you know that? Hendrix said you were his main influence.
Well, the first time I met him, I finally made it to New York, and I always was told, you'll never make it unless you play New York City. And the first time I got there, someone come crawling, and they was whispering, "That's Jimi Hendrix, that's Jimi Hendrix." And I'd had a few beers. I said, "Who the hell is that?" You know, and they said, "That's Jimi Hendrix." I said, "So what?" You know, and he said, "Can I tape what you play?" And I said, "Yeah, you can do anything you want with it." And I got a little piece of that tape someone mailed me over the last 5 years.
Yeah, because when we were touring in America in 66, 67, we used to see him in his tiny little club. Called Ondines, or some little club in New York, and he was just playing with 2 other guys and doing all that stuff, biting the strings and all that. And everybody thought it was gimmicky, but he was really good. And then suddenly, a year later, he was like the biggest thing around, wasn't he?
I know.
But he says, See? You were his main influence.
Yeah, no later.
It passes down all the time,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
about a week and a half ago, a British guy came in my club, and he was somewhere out of England. He's going to send me one of the contracts while Jimmy was playing it for him. I think it was for $30.
Oh.
Yeah, he said, because I got all this stuff on the wall, which I just
like
actually,
me, yeah.
for to give to me. And I'm gonna blow that up real big. And yeah, I'm having that. Yeah.
So you're doing the festival tonight. I really am sorry I can't stay.
I wish you could, because there's no way
of...
you could stay here unless you come up and play with me.
God, I'm glad I didn't bring my axe.
No, we got an axe.
You frightened me. It's wonderful.
We would love to have you.
We're right in the middle of a tour, and I just raced down here to see you, and I've got to race back because we're off again, and we've just started. We've just done 2 gigs, and we've got another 20 odd, and I just wanted to say hello anyway.
We got to get together. We keep in touch. We got to get together and play some more, because I can learn something from you.
Get out of it!
We can bring back those days of the muddy waters at Montreux.
Oh, that would be nice.
That would be great, because I do mojo work.
Oh.
Not as well as muddy.
You do your stuff, though.
Thank you, dear, so much.
Thank you for doing it.
Thank you.
The gypsy woman told my mother.
You're a bit taller than your dad, aren't you? As I was saying earlier.
Yeah, just a little bit.
You've got that same lazy kind of, smile and that sort of half-speed thing. I kind of like.
Yeah. I got that same delayed timing when I play too.
Yeah?
Yeah, I got it naturally. It's not something I worked on. It's just.
Do you get up and dance at the end like your dad used to?
Yeah, I danced last night.
That bit he used to do.
Yeah. I do my own little dance,
Oh, great.
Yeah, I feel a lot of times I'm on stage that I kind of, for some reason, I can feel that man's spirit, just running through my veins, It's like, he's right there with me,
I know,
and
he's a wonderful man.
Yeah.
Played with him a few times and knew him, saw him many shows from the mid-60s onwards, and he was fantastic, he really was.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up with a dad like that?
Well, he was like dad to me, He wasn't like, to everybody, he was like this big, musical giant, And, he was like daddy to me, He wasn't, it wasn't until after he died that I really, understood his importance to American music, the blues.
Oh God, it was one of the top 3.
Yeah,
and BB and maybe Sonny Boy Williamson or something.
Yeah. So it wasn't till after he died that I really started, doing my homework and studying and really kind of getting into the history of it and what he meant to that movement,
Yeah.
So he was more like just daddy to me, and it's just weird when he died. It was really hurtful.
It was a bit sudden as well, wasn't it?
Huh?
It was a bit sudden.
Yeah, to say the least, and for some reason I said I want to do a tribute to him. I said I want to come from the blood,
Yeah.
And I wanted to do a tribute to him, and so it all started there. I had to, before I could do a tribute, I had to get my skills together, and so I started, bought myself a guitar, and actually I bought my brother Joseph a guitar too, and I said, Joe, you learn how to play it, so I learn how to play it, and we'll go do it.
Yeah.
In a few years we'll go do it, because it'll be a cool thing for 2 Morganfields to go do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think Joe wound up getting rid of his, and I kept playing mine. It took me a long time. It took me 8 years or so to even get within the ballpark of being good enough,
It ain't that easy. Everybody thinks blues. Anybody that's not involved in playing blues or listening to blues always thinks blues music's a piece of cake.
Yeah, it's only 3 chords,
And
no big deal.
And it ain't, because it's all those little special things that make all the difference.
All the difference in the world. I would try to, I would hear my dad's record, and I said, oh, easy, piece of cake. So I get my little 4-track out, and I say, okay, I get the bass line. I got the bass line down, and I realized, wow, it's like empty. All that stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Big spaces. It's like empty. You just can't put a chord there. Yeah. they got all kind of.
And his timing, you see, was fantastic because even when he did that slide, he didn't just go. He used to go. That kind of thing.
Squeezing
didn't it? It was the way he did it, and do you do that face thing? When he does that, when he sings and all that.
Well, you know, people, my sisters and my brothers, they say that we have a lot of mannerisms together.
I know, I see that right now.
Yeah, they say we have a lot of mannerisms, and it's not a where I watch them or study them.
It's not a conscious thing.
It's not a conscious thing. It just happens. Yeah, I think that his blood definitely runs deep within mine. You know.
Do you know much about his childhood?
Well,
did he talk much about it?
Not a whole lot. You know, he would talk about he was raised by his grandmother. Because I was actually raised by my grandmother too.
Yeah, I was raised by mine as well, and because it was wartime when I was born.
Oh yeah. And he would talk about, he talked about how hard it was. That's what I remember him talking about, and how what he had done back then, and how he had came so far, and how he was taking care of the guys in the band, you know, and he was doing pretty good for himself.
I think he was very generous with his musicians and all that. He was very popular with everybody that played with him. I think that's that reason probably.
Yeah. I guess my dad was kind of like that in a sense. He was very easy to talk to, very easy to approach, and didn't have a big head. Didn't think
never.
Wasn't like I'm Muddy Waters and you ain't nothing. And he was just a humble kind of guy. A guy to have as much talent packed in his body as he did. He was just really kind of humble, and
I know very well.
Really humble guy. I mean, you could come by the house there and he'll tell you to go over and stir the pot. And
stir the pot.
He's just really down to earth.
What pot was that?
Well, he's always he loved to cook. I don't know if you knew that or not.
No, I didn't. No.
Yeah, he loved to cook, man. When he was home, he was always in the kitchen. He hung out.
That's why you're so big.
He hung out. His favorite spot was right there in the kitchen. He had his little jacket, smoking jacket, whatever we want to call it on, and have his champagne and just in the cooking. He's cooking chitlins, greens. Oh, he cooked all that stuff that even ladies, some of the black ladies couldn't cook like he could. And he just.
Wow! So he wasn't only a great musician and a great singer.
Yeah.
All those early things he did in the very beginning, the early things that were recorded, 41, 42 kind of time, weren't they? They were all like before he really got going. They were like the beginnings of all his songs, weren't they?
Yeah.
They had different names. I think I Can't Be Satisfied was something else, and there was a few of those very early ones that had different names, but it was that song. It became that song when he got to Chicago and did them all. So you've met, you obviously know Pine Top.
Yeah.
It's not the real Pine Top, not Pine Top Smith, it's Pine Top Perkins, isn't it?
Pine Top Perkins, yeah.
Who I played with,
Yeah.
Another sweet man.
Yeah, he's a sweet man, and
he played on your album.
Played on my album, and he's a guy that like I said, I've grown through this love, man. He's just such a sweetheart guy, And when I look in his eyes, it's weird. I look in his eyes, and I see my daddy's eyes in a sense,
You played with him for a long time, didn't you?
Yeah. I remember when I looked in my daddy's eyes during the later days, I just saw this soul, man, just this old soul, this old soldier that had been through a lot of battles and was just a little tired.
Your dad said a wonderful thing on an interview once. This wise guy who was interviewing him, he said, so are you a millionaire now? After become popular and all that, are you now a millionaire? And Muddy said, no, I ain't no millionaire, but I had a lot of managers that became millionaires.